Imagine you wake up one morning, and suddenly your phone, your laptop, your car, even your washing machine, all have one thing in common. They're useless. Not because of a bug, but because somewhere over the Taiwan Strait, missiles are flying, warships are sinking, and the world's chip factory just went offline. Welcome to the GRYD. I'm Jet Royce, and today we're not just asking, will China attack Taiwan? We're running the nightmare simulation. What if China actually does it, step by step, day by day, and how ugly does it really get? Stay till the end, because this is not just about two flags on a map. This is about your job, your money, your tech, and possibly World War III on hard mode. Let's start with a brutal truth. For Beijing, Taiwan is not a side quest. It's the unfinished main mission of the Chinese Communist Party. Reunification is tied directly to Xi Jinping's promise of national rejuvenation by 2049. But for the rest of the world, Taiwan is something even more dangerous: a single-point failure in the global economy. Taiwan produces around 60% of the world's semiconductors and over 90% of the most advanced chips. Its top foundry, TSMC, alone makes the majority of chips used in smartphones, high-end GPUs, cars, servers, basically the brain of modern civilization. So if there is a war over Taiwan, it's not some faraway conflict. It's like someone bombing the world's only oxygen factory. Economists estimate that a full-scale conflict or blockade could cut global economic output by about 2.8% in year one, and in worst-case scenarios, the total long-term hit may reach trillions, even up to $10 trillion. China and Taiwan themselves would be smashed economically, but the pain would be worldwide. So now you see why Taiwan is not just another hotspot. It's the fuse on a global bomb. So, how could China actually attack? People usually imagine a D-Day style invasion, Chinese tanks rolling onto Taiwanese beaches while jets scream overhead. Reality? Military analysts say that is the hardest version of the war, not the default one. China has built a terrifying toolbox: thousands of ballistic and cruise missiles that can hit Taiwan's bases, power, and communication nodes. A rapidly growing Navy and Air Force, plus special amphibious brigades, especially in the Eastern Theater Command facing Taiwan. Cyber units and electronic warfare to blind radars and cripple networks. But here's the catch: invasion not equal to just firing missiles. You need to move and sustain hundreds of thousands of troops across a 130-kilometer wide strait, in bad weather, under fire. Estimates say the PLA's dedicated sea lift can move maybe 20,000 troops across at once, and even by mobilizing civilian roll-on/roll-off ships and new temporary piers, they still fall short of what a full conquest would require: several 100,000 troops in multiple waves. That's why many serious studies argue China's more realistic first move is not an instant full invasion, but something like a blockade, choking Taiwan's ports and airspace, mass missile and airstrikes to break its will, or seizing smaller outer islands like Kinmen as a warning shot. So in our what-if scenario, let's pick the scariest but still plausible path. Beijing decides it can't wait anymore and goes for a rapid, combined strike plus blockade, with invasion as the endgame. Night Zero. How the war starts. It probably doesn't start with an announcement. Midnight. Chinese state media suddenly goes into historic moment mode. A speech about separatist forces, internal matter, reunification by force if necessary. At almost the same time, 3 invisible punches land: cyber and information warfare, power outages, banking disruptions, fake emergency messages. Social media flooded with deepfakes claiming Taiwan's leaders have fled or surrendered. Missile storm. waves of ballistic and cruise missiles hit air bases, radars, ports, fuel depots, command centers. The goal? Blind Taiwan, ground its air force, trap its navy in port, or destroy ships at pier. Air superiority push. Hundreds of PLA fighters and bombers surge towards Taiwan, backed by drones and electronic warfare. They're not trying to dogfight, they're trying to smash air defenses and control the skies long enough for the main act. For a few hours, it looks one-sided, but remember, Taiwan has been preparing for this exact script. Taiwan's porcupine fight back. Taiwan knows it cannot beat China in a classic jet versus jet, ship versus ship slugfest. The budgets differ by more than 20 times. So the new strategy some Taiwanese and Western planners push is called the porcupine strategy. Don't try to be a tiger. Be the animal that's too painful to eat. Instead of relying only on big, expensive platforms that can be destroyed on day one, the porcupine approach focuses on mobile anti-ship and anti-air missile launchers hidden in tunnels, forests, cities. Fast missile boats that pop out, fire, and vanish. Mines in key coastal areas. Cheap drones for surveillance and kamikaze attacks. Recent Taiwanese defense reports and budgets increasingly emphasize these asymmetric area denial systems. More shore-based missiles like HF series, more air defenses like Skybow, and mass-produced small but many platforms. So in our scenario, as PLA ships move in to enforce a blockade, long-range coastal missiles start hunting them. Any amphibious group approaching the western coast has to cross minefields and kill zones packed with anti-ship fire. Even if China gets temporary air superiority, low-altitude airspace around beaches becomes a nightmare of manpads and short-range air defenses. In other words, it's not a clean cinematic invasion. It's a meat grinder. Day 2 to Day 7. Does America jump in? Here's where the war stops being China versus Taiwan and becomes China versus the Alliance Network. US war games by think tanks like CSIS and CNAS have run dozens of scenarios of a 2020s Chinese attack on Taiwan. Patterns that keep showing up. If the US and Japan join fully, China often fails to conquer Taiwan, but at immense cost to everyone. If the US stays out, China's odds of eventually taking the island rise dramatically, though with heavy casualties and long-term damage. In reality, Washington has a policy of strategic ambiguity. It doesn't promise openly that it will fight, but it arms Taiwan and repeatedly says peace in the Strait is a vital interest. By late 2025, the US had approved massive arms packages focused on exactly those asymmetric defenses, missiles, drones, sea denial systems, to make any invasion hellishly expensive. Japan is the real wild card. Recent Japanese leaders have openly called a Chinese attack on Taiwan a survival-threatening situation for Japan, hinting that Tokyo could use its right to collective self-defense and join a war. The US and Japan have spent 2025 loudly reaffirming that their alliance will respond to any attempt to change the Taiwan status quo by force. So, in our scenario, as soon as China announces a quarantine or launches missiles, US and Japanese forces go on high alert. US submarines and bombers start targeting Chinese ships and bases if Washington decides to intervene. Japanese bases become critical launch pads and therefore targets, bringing the war dangerously close to a NATO-style conflict in Asia. From this point, every move risks escalation. Hit too softly and Taiwan falls. Hit too hard and you provoke China into widening the war. What about India and the wider region? For Indian viewers, the obvious question is, where does India stand? Publicly, India sticks to strategic ambiguity too, supporting a peaceful resolution and freedom of navigation, but avoiding direct military commitments. But a war over Taiwan would immediately affect Indian trade routes through the South China Sea and beyond, global energy and commodity prices, and the broader balance of power with China along the Himalayan border. While India is unlikely to send warships into a direct shooting battle in the Taiwan Strait on day one, New Delhi could share intelligence with partners through Quad-style mechanisms, increase naval activity in the Indian Ocean to pressure China's sea lines, quietly support sanctions or tech restrictions that weaken China's warfighting capacity. An extended conflict that weakens China economically and militarily might look tempting from a narrow strategic lens, but the global economic shock, including to India's own growth, would be brutal. This is the classic everyone loses, some lose more scenario. Now let's zoom out from missiles to money. Because Taiwan is a semiconductor superpower and the region is a trade superhighway, a war there would cripple 92% of the world's most advanced logic chip supply and a huge share of older but still critical chips, disrupt 3.9 trillion pounds worth of trade that flows through nearby sea lanes every year, trigger shortages in everything from cars and smartphones to medical devices and defense systems. Analysts estimate electronics manufacturers alone could lose around $500 billion from chip disruptions, and the broader global hit from a blockade or war could reach $2.7 to $10 trillion, depending on duration and severity. Remember how the pandemic chip shortage made car prices jump and production fall by double digits in Europe? That was a minor preview. A hot war over Taiwan is that crisis on steroids. So when politicians talk tough about standing up to China or retaking Taiwan by force, behind closed doors, the spreadsheets are saying, this is economically suicidal for everyone. One more nightmare layer, nukes. China officially has a no first use nuclear policy, but multiple war games and expert assessments warn that in a Taiwan war, Beijing might still brandish nuclear weapons or conduct limited demonstrations, like a test in the atmosphere or a distant ocean, to scare the US and Japan into backing off. On the other side, if US bases in Japan and Guam are hit hard, Washington might see that as a direct attack on its homeland interests and escalate in response. Many simulations show a pattern. War starts limited over Taiwan. Both sides hit each other's satellites, logistics hubs, maybe even territory. Red lines blur. One miscalculation, and suddenly people are discussing nuclear thresholds instead of trade policy. This is why some serious think tanks say the most likely long-term outcome of a Taiwan war is not a clean victory, but a bloody stalemate with enormous losses and a permanently damaged global system. So, will China actually attack? Here's the twist. Many recent assessments, including by Recorded Future, Stimson, and others, argue that while China is racing to build the option to invade by around 2027, an actual full-scale invasion in the short term, mid-2020s, is still unlikely. Why? The PLA is still working on critical weaknesses, especially amphibious lift and joint operations. A failed invasion would be politically fatal for Xi and the Communist Party. The economic cost, sanctions, chip disruptions, capital flight, could wreck China's growth model and threaten regime stability. Instead, Beijing is more likely to increase gray zone pressure, fighter jets, warships, drones constantly probing Taiwan. Use economic coercion and legal tactics, lawfare, to claim more control over surrounding waters. Build military power and political influence until one day Taiwan feels isolated enough that its leaders are forced to negotiate on Beijing's terms without a shot fired. But here's the bad news. The more both sides prepare for worst-case war, the easier it becomes for a miscalculation, a radar lock, a collision at sea, a stray missile, to spiral into something nobody actually wanted. Wrap up, the real what if. So, what if China attacks Taiwan? it doesn't stay a local fight. The US, Japan, and others almost certainly get dragged in. Taiwan doesn't just roll over, it turns into a porcupine, making every kilometer of beach and sea brutally expensive. The global economy takes a historic hit, with chips, trade, and growth all collapsing simultaneously. And even if nukes are never used, the nuclear shadow limits everyone's options and keeps the world permanently on edge. In game terms, this is the boss fight where no one gets the good ending. Which is exactly why, for now, most serious analysts believe Beijing will keep the pressure just below open war, while quietly preparing for the day it might roll the dice. If you want a follow-up episode where we flip the script and ask, what if Taiwan actually holds and China loses? With deep dive on India's options, Quad strategy, and how this reshapes Asia, tell me in the comments. You were watching The Grid. I'm Jet Royce. If this helped you understand the Taiwan flashpoint beyond the usual headlines, hit like, share this with that one friend who thinks war is good for the economy, and subscribe for more hard-hitting geopolitics, minus the boring. See you in the next one.